The boardroom at Harrison Industries was all mahogany and leather, the kind of room designed to make people feel small. 23 family members sat around the conference table, their faces ranging from bored to hostile. I sat in the back row, where stepchildren belonged. Apparently, my stepmother Patricia stood at the head of the table, a PowerPoint presentation glowing behind her. She wore a cream St. John's suit and her signature pearl Nicholista, one Dad had given her for their 10th anniversary, 3 years before he died. As we discussed at the last quarterly meeting, Patricia sighed, clicking to the next slide. The restructuring proposal requires a family vote. All blood relatives with ownership stakes will participate. My half-brother Marcus raised his hand. What about Emma? Patricia's smile didn't waver. Emma is not a blood relative. But Dad left her shares. Your father left Emma a nominal because, as his stepdaughter, she has no voting rights in family business matters. I said nothing, just watched from my chair in the back. This is a family company, Patricia continued, started by my late husband's grandfather in 1952. Passed down through 3 generations of Harrison blood. It's important we preserve that legacy for the rightful heirs. Marcus's sister, Caroline, nodded. Makes sense. No offense, Emma. None taken, I said quietly. It's not personal, Patricia added, her tone dripping with false sympathy. You're part of the family, of course. You're always welcome at holidays, birthdays, family events. But business decisions need to stay with blood relatives. That's how your father would have wanted it. That was a lie. But I didn't correct her. So, Patricia clicked to the next slide. The restructuring proposal will be selling the manufacturing division to Apex Corporation for $47 million. The funds will be redistributed among family shareholders, proportional to their ownership stakes. Uncle Richard leaned forward. And the percentages, I hold 31% as Robert's widow. Marcus has 18%. Caroline has 18%. Richard, you have 12%. Robert's brother Thomas has 11%. Various cousins hold the remaining 10%. She didn't mention my name. The sale requires approval from shareholders holding at least 51% of company stock. Patricia sighed. I'm proposing we vote today. All in favor? Hands went up around the table. Marcus, Caroline, Richard, Thomas, the cousins. Everyone except me, but I wasn't asked to vote. Excellent, Patricia said. That's 90% approval from voting shareholders. The sale will proceed. Apex has agreed to close within 60 days. We're looking at approximately $14.5 million for my share alone. Murmurs of approval around the table. People were already calculating their payouts. There is one more item. Patricia sighed. Emma's employment. My stomach tightened. Emma currently works in our marketing department. She's been with the company for how long now, Emma? 6 years, I said. 6 years. And we appreciate your service. However, with the restructuring, we'll be eliminating several positions. Marketing will be outsourced to an agency. Your position will be terminated effective December 31st. The room was silent. You'll receive 2-week severance, Patricia continued, plus unused vacation time. That should give you a cushion while you look for other opportunities. 2 weeks. Marcus frowned. She's been here 6 years. The employee handbook specifies 2 weeks for non-management positions. Emma was never promoted to management, because Patricia had blocked every promotion I'd been recommended for. But again, I didn't say it. Any questions? Patricia asked the room. Thomas raised his hand. What about Emma's shares? The bequest from Robert, as I mentioned, it was nominal. A token gesture. Emma received some stock. Yes, but not enough to have any real influence on company decisions. How much exactly? Caroline asked. Patricia waved her hand dismissively. The specifics aren't relevant. What matters is that the blood family retains control of Harrison Industries. I opened my car door. Monday's hearing is my last chance. Dad's attorney has filed for dismissal. If the judge grants it, I lose access to whatever Grandpa wanted me to have. Are you going to say it? The code phrase, if I need to. I slid into the driver's seat. Dad thinks I'm just a bitter daughter looking for money. He has no idea what's actually at stake. Flashback 10 years earlier, I was 23 when Grandpa Joe died. He'd been declining for months, but his mind stayed sharp until the very end. The week before he passed, he called me to his bedside at the VA hospital. Cassie. His grip on my hand was weak, but insistent. I need you to listen carefully. Don't interrupt. Don't ask questions until I'm done. I nodded. Your father is a good man in many ways. He served his country with honor. He built a successful business. But he has secrets, Cassie. Things he did during his service that I helped cover up because that's what we did back then. We protected our own. Grandpa, let me finish. He coughed, a rattling sound. I kept records. Documentation of operations your father participated in. Operations that weren't entirely legal. Operations that involved civilian casualties that were never reported. I kept these records as insurance, in case the government ever tried to pin responsibility on lower-ranking officers. But now I'm dying, and these records need to be protected by someone who'll do the right thing. My hands were shaking. I'm leaving you these documents in my will. Your father will try to block you from accessing them. He'll use every legal means available. When he doesn't, you need to use a code phrase that will force disclosure. It's a reference to one of the operations. The presiding judge will understand. What if the judge doesn't know what it means? Any federal judge with the right clearance will know. It's part of their briefing on classified military operations that might come up in civilian court. The phrase will trigger a protocol. He squeezed my hand. Promise me you'll fight for these records. Promise me you'll do what's right with them when you get them. I promise. He died 3 days later. At the will reading, Dad's face went white when the attorney read the clause about Grandpa's military documents being bequeathed to me. That's a mistake, Dad said immediately. Dad was confused at the end. He didn't understand what he was signing. But the will was ironclad. Grandpa had used a military attorney, someone who specialized in classified materials and estate law. Dad began the legal obstruction the next week. Monday morning, the courthouse I arrived at the courthouse at 8:30 a.m. wearing my best suit. My attorney, Margaret Cho, met me on the steps. She was sharp, experienced, and had worked on military cases before, though even she didn't know about the code phrase. Some things were too sensitive to discuss, even with your own lawyer. Your father's attorney filed 3 additional motions this morning, she said grimly. They're really pushing for dismissal. Let them push. Inside, the courtroom was smaller than I expected. Dad sat at the plaintiff's table with his attorney, Richard Morrison, a man who'd built his career on estate law and making problems disappear. Trevor sat behind them in the gallery, looking smug. Dad didn't look at me when I walked in. Judge Patricia Coldwell entered at 9 a.m. sharp. She was in her early 60s, gray hair pulled back severely, reading glasses perched on her nose. She looked at the case file with the expression of someone who'd seen 1,000 family disputes and found them all equally tedious. Hawthorne estate dispute, she said. Ms. Cho, you're representing the petitioner, Cassandra Hawthorne. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Morrison represents Richard Hawthorne, executor of the estate and the respondent in this matter? Correct, Your Honor. Judge Coldwell flipped through the file. I've reviewed the briefs. Mr. Morrison, you've filed for dismissal on grounds that the petitioner has no standing to claim specific bequest of classified military materials. She looked at me like she'd never seen me before. He gave you everything. Not everything, just controlling interest. Why didn't you say anything? Why did you let me conduct that entire meeting thinking I had control? Because I wanted to see what you'd do, how you'd treat me when you thought I had no power. And now I know exactly who you are. Patricia stood up quickly. Emma, listen. We can work this out. I made a mistake. You made several. But we're family. We can find a solution that works for everyone. Can we? Of course. Look, the Apex deal is good for the company. You should want this sale to go through. Why should I want it? Because you'll make $31 million. You're 67% of $47 million. That's life-changing money. I already have life-changing money. Dad's life insurance alone was $5 million. Patricia's eyes widened. What? The life insurance policy. $5 million pajable, 2 million. You got the house, the cars, the investments. I got the cash and the company shares. But you live in that tiny apartment, because I choose to. Not because I have to. She grabbed my arm. Emma, please. If you block this sale, everyone loses. Marcus needs that money for his house. Caroline's planning her wedding. Richard wants to retire. Then they should have been nicer to me. That's petty. No, it's consequences. I pulled my arm away. You excluded me from family votes. You're firing me. You called me a token. You said blood relatives are the only ones who matter. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. You've meant it for 7 years. Every Christmas where I was seated at the kids' table even though I'm 30. Every family photos I was cropped out of. Every business meeting where you talked over me or ignored my ideas. Yes, I was protecting the family legacy. I am the family legacy. My voice rose for the first time. Dad chose me. He adopted me legally when I was 12. He raised me. He loved me, and he trusted me with his company because he knew you'd try to push me out. Patricia's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's the lawyer from Apex Corporation. You should answer it. She did. Hello. Yes, this is Patricia Harson. Pause. What do you mean there's a problem? Longer pause. Her eyes found mine. I see. Yes. I'll have to call you back. She hung up. Apex's legal team did their due diligence, she said quietly. They found the ownership records. They know you control 67%. They won't close the sale without your signature. Good. Emma, please. Here's what's going to happen, I said. I'm blocking the sale to Apex. The manufacturing division stays with Harrison Industries. But the offer is irrelevant. I'm also canceling your termination. I'll remain in my position, at a new title, Chief Strategy Officer. Salary $180,000. Patricia's mouth opened and closed. You will retain your position as CEO, I continued, for now. But you'll report directly to me as majority shareholder. All major business decisions require my approval. You can't. I can. I own 67% of the company. Check the bylaws. Majority shareholder has final authority. This is insane. No. This is business. You wanted to treat this like business instead of family? Fine. Welcome to business. I walked to the door. Stopped. Oh, and Patricia, there's a board meeting next week. I'll be presenting a new compensation structure for all family members on the payroll. Some people have been dramatically overpaid for minimal contributions. That's going to change. You can't take away their salaries. I'm not taking them away. I'm making them proportional to actual work performed. Marcus does maybe 15 hours a week. Carolyn barely shows up. They'll be compensated accordingly. They'll revolt. They can. And I can replace them. There are plenty of qualified people who'd love a job at Harrison Industries. People who aren't here because of their last name. I opened the door. Emma. Patricia's voice cracked. Your father wouldn't want this. He wouldn't want you destroying the family. Primeta turned back. You destroyed the family when you spent 7 years treating me like I didn't belong. When you excluded me, diminished man tried to erase me from Dad's legacy. I'm not destroying anything. I'm correcting it. But, and Patricia, you're uninvited from Christmas at my apartment this year. Blood family only. I'm sure you understand. I walked out. The main conference room had emptied except for Marcus and Caroline, who were still planning their spending sprees. And the Maldives is supposed to be incredible in February, Caroline was saying. Emma Marcus spotted me. Hey, sorry about the job thing. Mom can be harsh sometimes, but it's not personal. Actually, Marcus, I need to talk to both of you. What's up? I'm blocking the Apex sale. Carolyn laughed. You can't block anything. You don't have voting rights. I have 67% of the company. I have all the voting rights. They stared at me. That's not funny. Caroline sighed. I showed them my phone. The email from Lawrence with Marcos Red Italiano looked up at me. This is real, very real. But Dad never said he, never told us. He told me 7 years ago, when he set up the trust. Why would he give you controlling interest? Caroline's voice rose. We're his actual children. He gave you 18% each. That's $8.5 million from the Apex sale, more than most people see in a lifetime. But you get twice, that I get control, because Dad trusted me to run the company, not spend the money on boats and vacations. Marcus's face reddened. That's not fair. Neither is trying to fire me with 2 weeks severance. That was Mom's decision, and you said nothing. You sat there and let her do it. Both of you did. Caroline crossed her arms. So what? You're going to punish us now? Take away our inheritance because your feelings are hurt. I'm not taking anything away. You still own 18% each. You'll still get dividends. You'll still have jobs here if you want them. If we want them, Marcus said. What's that supposed to mean? It means your compensation will match your contribution. No more $120,000 salaries for part-time work. You can't, I can, and I will. Starting next quarter. Caroline's phone rang. She looked at the screen. It's Mom, she answered. Hello, Bouse. Bouse. What? Are you serious? She looked at me with pure hatred. She's standing right here. Another pause. Fine. She hung up. Mom wants an emergency family meeting. Tonight, 7 o'clock. Caroline stepped closer to me. You know what you're doing? You're tearing this family apart. The family was already torn apart. You just didn't notice because you weren't the one bleeding. We treated you fine. You treated me like a charity case, like someone who should be grateful for scraps, like my presence at family events was a favor you were doing me. That's not true. Last Christmas, you gave everyone stockings with their names embroidered. Mine said guest. Caroline flushed. That was a mistake. It wasn't. It was exactly what you think of me. A guest. Not family. Never really family. Marcus held up his hands. Okay, look, maybe we haven't always been perfect. But this seems extreme. Blocking a $47 million sale. Cutting our salaries. Because of some hurt feelings? Hurt feelings? I laughed. Marcus, your mother just tried to fire me from my father's company. The company he built, the company he left to me because he knew exactly what she'd do. He left it to all of us know. He left control to me. He left you money. There's a difference. I walked toward the door. The meeting's at 7, Caroline called after me. At Mom's house? You should be there. I'll think about it. Emma, come on, I'll think about it. I left. I didn't go to the meeting. Instead, I sat in my apartment, the 900 square foot place Patricia thought was tiny and sad, and made calls. First, to Lawrence Whitmore. Emma. He answered warmly. I assume you received my email. I did. Patricia called you. She did. Rather frantically. I confirmed the ownership transfer and explained the trust structure. She was ... displeased. I bet. For what it's worth, your father was very clear about his intentions. He knew exactly what he was doing. I know. He also left you a letter. I was instructed to deliver it once the ownership transferred. Can I bring it by tomorrow? My throat tightened. Yes, please. 10 o'clock. Perfect. Next, I called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. What do you want? How's the meeting going? How do you think? Mom's furious. Caroline's crying. Uncle Richard's threatening to sue. On what grounds? Due. Influence. Mental incompetence. Something. Anything to break Dad's trust. That won't work. Dad had 3 doctors certify his mental competency when he signed the documents. Lawrence made sure of it. Silence. Marcus, I'm not trying to destroy anything. I'm trying to fix what's been broken. By taking away our money. I'm not taking your money. I'm restructuring compensation to be fair. You'll still make more than most people could dream of. You just won't be paid 6 figures for doing 20 hours of work a month. Dad wanted us taken care of. Dad wanted the company to thrive. He wanted it run by people who care about more than their next vacation. He wanted it preserved for future generations. And you think you're the one to do that? Dad did. That's why he gave me control. More silence. I loved him too, you know, Marcus said quietly. He was my dad. I know. And I know we haven't always treated you great. Caroline and I, we didn't know how to deal with you being around after he married Patricia. It was weird. I was 12. I know. We were kids too. Stupid, selfish kids. And now we're stupid, selfish adults who just realize we've been holes for 18 years. Despite everything, I smiled. At least you're self-aware. Look, I can't speak for Caroline or Mom, but I'm sorry. Really sorry for all of it. Thank you. Does that change anything? I don't know yet. Ask me in 6 months. Fair enough. He paused. For what it's worth, I think Dad chose right. You always cared more about the company than any of us did. You know every employee's name. You show up early and stay late. You actually give a shit. I loved him. The company was his legacy. Yeah. We just loved his money. We hung up. I sat in the dark for a while, thinking about Dad. About the last conversation we'd had before the heart attack took him. Emma, he'd said, I'm leaving you. Something important. Patricia won't like it. Marcus and Caroline won't understand it. But it's necessary. What is it? Control of everything I built. Because you're the only one who'll preserve it. The only one who sees people as more than dollar signs. Dad, I don't need yes, you do. Because they're going to try to push you out. Patricia's already talking about blood, family, and rightful heirs. She doesn't see you as my daughter. She sees you as an obstacle. Let her. I don't care about the company. You should. Because 300 people work there. 300 families depend on the decisions made in that boardroom. And I trust you to protect them. Not Patricia. Not Marcus, you know. He'd been right. About all of it. The next morning, Lawrence Whitmore arrived at 10 with a manila envelope. Your father's letter, he said, handing it to me, along with some additional documentation you should review. I made coffee. We sat at my small kitchen table. Patricia called me 4 more times last night, Lawrence sighed. She wants to contest the trust. Can she? Robert was meticulous, every I dotted, every T crossed. 3 independent witnesses, multiple doctors certifying competency, filed with the court years before his death. It's airtight. Good. She's also threatening to resign as CEO. That's her choice. You'd let her? I'd prefer she stay. She's good at certain aspects of the role, but if she can't work with me having final authority, then yes, she should resign. Lawrence smiled. Your father said you'd say something like that? He did. He told me Emma won't be vindictive. She'll be fair. That's why she's the right choice. He gestured to the envelope. You should read the letter. I opened it after he left. Dad's handwriting precise, architectural, unchanged since I was a kid. My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, the trust has activated, which means Patricia tried to exclude you from something important. I'm sorry. I'm not there to stop her myself. I want you to know. Choosing you wasn't a slight against Marcus and Caroline. I love them, but they're too much like their mother, focused on status, appearance, wealth. They'd run Harrison Industries into the ground within 5 years, selling off pieces for short-term gain. You're different. You see the people behind the profits. You remember that 300 families depend on our decisions. You care about legacy, not just money. That's why I'm trusting you with everything. Will Patricia be angry? Yes. Will Marcus and Caroline feel betrayed? Probably. But in time, they'll understand. Or they won't. Either way, you'll do what's right. Some advice. 1. Don't be cruel, but don't be a pushover. Fair is not the same as nice. 2. Protect the employees first. They're the real heart of the company. 3. Give your family chances to prove themselves, but only chances they earn. 4. Remember that you don't owe anyone access to your life. Blood doesn't entitle people to mistreat you. I'm so proud of who you've become. Not because of this company, not because of money, but because you're kind without being weak, strong without being cruel, and wise enough to know the difference. All my love. Dad. P.S. The combination to the safe in my study is your birthday, August 15th, 92. There's something inside for you. Patricia doesn't know about it. I sat there for 20 minutes, just holding the letter. Then I called Patricia. She answered immediately. Emma, I'm coming to the house. Is that okay? Of course. When? Now. The house looked the same as always, sprawling colonial, perfectly landscaped, Dad's BMW still in the garage because Patricia couldn't bring herself to sell it. She opened the door before I could knock. Thank you for coming, she said. We sat in the living room. The formal one nobody ever used. I've been thinking, Patricia sighed, about what you said. About how I've treated you. And, you're right, I did exclude you. I did make you feel less than. I told myself it was about protecting Robert's legacy, but really, she looked at her hands. Really? I was jealous. Jealous of how much he loved you. How proud he was of you. How he'd light up when you called or visited. Marcus and Caroline, they were his by blood, but you were his by choice. That's different. That's special. Patricia, let me finish. She met my eyes. I knew he left you controlling interest. He told me, 3 years ago, after his first heart attack, he said he was updating the trust to protect you. And you said nothing? I was angry. I fought with him about it. Told him it was a betrayal of his real children. We didn't speak for 2 weeks. What changed? He didn't. The trust stayed as he wanted it. And I realized he wasn't going to choose me over you. So I just pretended it wasn't real, that somehow it would change, that you'd sign the shares over to me out of respect, or love, or something. That's why you pushed so hard to exclude me. You were hoping I'd walk away. Yes. She wiped her eyes, and instead, you're here. With all the power I thought I'd have, and I'm terrified. Of what? That you'll kick me out, fire me. Take everything. Revenge for 7 years of cruelty. I sat back. Is that what you'd do? If I'm honest, probably. Then it's good Dad chose me instead. She laughed a broken sound. It really is. We sat in silence. I'm not firing you, I said finally. You're good at your job. The company's grown 34% under your leadership. The employees generally like you. You're strategic and smart. But you're going to treat me like a partner. Not a stepdaughter. Not a token. An equal. I can do that. And you're going to apologize to the employees I've worked with, the ones you've dismissed or talked over because I recommended them. Done. And Christmas. You're going to stop excluding me from family photos. Emma, I never. She stopped at my look. Okay? Yes, I did. And I'll stop. Do you actually want me at Christmas? Or are you just saying that because I own the company? Patricia thought about it. Really thought. 6 months ago, I would have said I was just saying it. But now. She smiled sadly. Now I'm realizing how empty this house has been without Robert. How quiet. How lonely. Marcus and Caroline visit maybe once a month. You're the only one who came to the house every week after he died. Who sat with me, who didn't make me feel pathetic for grieving. You loved him. I did. Not the way he loved you, but I did love him. And he loved you so much, Emma. So much that he trusted you with everything. I should have respected that. Yes, you should have. Can we start over? I don't know. Can we? I'd like to try. I stood. There's one more thing. Dad's letter mentioned a safe in his study. Patricia looked confused. What safe? He said there's something for me inside. I don't know about any safe. ... We went upstairs to Dad's study. The room Patricia had left exactly as it was: his desk, his books, his reading chair by the window. I went to the bookshelf, ran my fingers along the spines, until I found what I was looking for: a leather-bound copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. Dad's favorite book. I pulled it. The shelf swung open. Behind it, a small wall safe. I had no idea that was there. Patricia breathed. I entered the combination. August 5, 1092. Inside, a velvet box and another envelope. I opened the box first. A ring. Simple gold band. Engraved inside, "To Emma, my daughter. Always." Dad, my vision blurred. "Oh, Emma," Patricia whispered. I opened the envelope. Emma. Emma. This was my mother's wedding ring. She died when I was young, but I kept it all these years. It's yours, now. Not because you're getting married though, I hope you find someone worthy of you. But because you're my daughter. My real daughter. And I want you to have something that proves it. Wear it or don't. Keep it or pass it to your own daughter someday. But know that you were chosen. You were loved. You were mine. You were mine. Always. Dad, I slipped the ring on my right hand. Perfect fit. Patricia was crying openly now. He loved you so much. I know. More than he loved us. Different than he loved you. Not more. Just different. You're being generous. I'm being honest. I closed the safe. Let the bookshelf swing shut. He loved Marcus and Caroline. He loved you in his way, but he chose me to carry his legacy because he knew I'd protect it. And will you? Yes! Even though we don't deserve it, especially because you don't. Because someone needs to be better than the worst of us. We walked downstairs together. At the door, Patricia said, "The Apex sale. I understand you blocking it. But the company needs capital. We're growing faster than our cash flow can support." I know. I've been reviewing the financials. You have. Every quarter for 6 years. I just never said anything because you never asked. What do you suggest? Not a sale. A strategic partnership. Someone who'll invest without taking control. I have some ideas. I'd like to hear them. Next week. Lunch? You, me, and Lawrence will talk through options. That sounds good. I turned to leave. Emma, yeah, thank you for not destroying us when you could have. I'm not thanking you yet. You have to earn that. I will, I promise. We'll see. I drove back to my apartment, my tiny, wonderful apartment with its garage parking and city views. Called Marcus. Hey, he answered. You still want that $8.5 million from selling your shares? I what? You're 18%. I'll buy it. Market value. $8.5 million. Paid out over 3 years so the taxes don't kill you. You're serious? Completely. You get cash, I get full control. Everyone wins. What about Caroline? Same offer, her choice. Why would you do this? Because you don't care about the company. You care about money, and I care about the company. So let's both get what we want. I need to think about it. Take a week. After that, offer expires. Emma, I really am sorry. For all of it I know. Me too. We hung up. I made tea. Sat at my window. Watched the city lights come on as evening fell. The ring on my finger caught the light. Simple gold band. Dad's mother's ring. You are my daughter. Always. Tomorrow I'd go to the office. Start implementing changes. Review partnership proposals. Have difficult conversations with family members who'd have to earn their places. But tonight, I just sat with Dad's letter in his ring and the knowledge that I'd been chosen. Not because of blood, not because of money, but because of character. And that, more than controlling 67% of a company, more than $31 million, more than any title or power or revenge, was the real inheritance. The one that mattered. The one Dad had really left me.